Previously on Crit Fail Club.
You can see a raven who is tapping the sequence of 4 over and over again, and Shiraka stands up so abruptly he almost knocks his chair over, and he says, "Danger's coming. We need to get out of here." Hey! There they are!
Oh no.
Run! You manage to get, almost halfway out of the city, and the ghouls get the jump on you. Don't fight them, just run! You go sprinting out of Evernight. You manage to get far enough away to feel safe. So, I just realized that, that was the way out. I'm afraid it is no longer safe for you to go to Evernight ever again. And you are reminded again that, wow, travel in the Shadowfell is just the pits. Objectively, it has only probably been about an hour and a half on the road, but it feels like it's been a day.
Why does he keep looking at you?
I don't know.
I don't like it.
Hey, Shiraka, why are you staring at her? I'm sorry, I don't mean to stare. It's just, I cannot shake the feeling that I've seen you somewhere before. Shiraka is staring up at the sky, and he says, "I think we need to find shelter. The storm's coming in." There is this very low-lying cave, sort of built into a rocky outcropping. There are 2 main arteries going off the cave. The one on the left is very shallow. You search around, there's nothing. The one on the right, I'd like you all to roll perception. The longer you stare at this one particular rock formation, you can't help but notice you think it might be breathing. It has 6 yellow eyes, and it is staring directly at you, Nyla.
Hello!
This is a gray render. Don't get it twisted. They are very, very dangerous. They are also not immediately inclined to attack. They have a tendency to bond very, very strongly with one person.
Oh no.
You slowly start to back away, and it follows.
He's like a dog.
The gray render is now sniffing around you specifically, Ariazis, because you smell like woods and outside.
I have a child now, you guys.
Shiraka is mostly he is watching outside. He seems more concerned about the rain than he does about the gray render.
So, is it because it's the Shadowfell that the lightning is odd-colored?
Called a storm of memories. You can go out if you want to, although if your life has been particularly challenging, I'd recommend against it. So, Ariazis, you are about 9 years old. I cannot believe Qatar burdened himself. Astonishing and viscerally disgusting.
I didn't ask to look like this.
And how unfortunate that is for you. Because who would ever choose to look like that?
Selwyn, saw Ariadnes run out into the rain and is definitely going to run to follow.
And suddenly, you are, probably a young teenager, a very young teenager. Your mother has just given birth to your second youngest sibling, and you can see the midwife. Do you have no consideration for everyone who lives in this community? Curse on this family, on
Think
this
of all
tribe.
the
souls that have had to die to fill this family of yours.
I stomp my foot and I go,
We're not bringing death, we're bringing life.
And how do you imagine that life was made? The souls of elves are limited. For each one born, another must die. You turn around, and you are back standing in the rain. And Salvador is standing between you with a hand on each of your shoulders. He's like, "Are you guys okay? Come in!" By the time you all collectively wake up, it has stopped raining. And again, it is a very, very long trip.
I've basically worked out that we're going to the equivalent of Candlekeep.
The difference between whereas Candlekeep is wide and relatively low, this is like an enormous black spire. It is lit with ominous green light. This must be the place.
I would imagine.
What's our plan?
Go inside, find him, and kill him. Claim his soul for the Raven Queen. Wow, this is a horror show. There are a bunch of skeletonized bodies. It looks like this used to be some sort of library, but all the books were just gone.
Oh, this pisses me off so much.
You hear a very loud thump from somewhere upstairs.
Shiraka, what are we facing?
He does not answer. He is already on his way out the door. You see a couple eerie green specters. This room still has some books left, but they are rapidly being depleted. This skeletonized figure draped in cloth, he is literally devouring books. He is ripping pages off, chewing them up, and eating them.
Cool, I'm casting Shatter.
Yay.
Woof!
Nice.
It's quite a lot of damage.
I'm not looking great, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Selwyn, you have made yourself a really big threat. I mean...
Uh-huh.
Half of the wall suddenly breaks apart and rock goes flying everywhere. It's Stormy! He climbed the side of the castle and busted through the wall.
Killing Selwyn in the process.
Ah! the second that the Deathlock's body falls onto the floor in several pieces, thanks to the appearance of Stormy, who ripped its head off, Shiraka immediately swoops forward and hunches over what is left of the desiccated remains and starts moving his hands slowly along its rib cage, and then the other one several feet away, over its head and shoulders, which were two separate pieces now. But now the castle is very quiet. Not, nice or homey, but definitely quiet.
Quiet is an improvement.
Nyla gets up off the floor and is like, it looks over at Ariazes and is like, "You're a monster!
My son, excuse me.
Your
How dare
monster
you."
son took away half my health!"
I'm less concerned about that and more concerned about the fact that he knocked out Selwyn.
Thank you.
Is Selwyn okay?
You're still conscious. I don't care too much about you.
Do we need to heal Selwyn? Oh, shit.
I believe Salvador healed her to...
Yeah, Sal did.
Yeah,
Like 22.
Yeah. Yeah, your girlfriend's alive. Calm down.
My what?
Just hurt.
Salvador's like, yeah, I mean, I think there are a couple drawbacks that we may not have noticed about a little Stormy over here. It's just...
Yes.
I think we noticed, but
Yeah, I think we know this.
Well, we definitely know it now.
Mm-hmm.
So our dead elf friend, what is he doing?
Shadakai are not dead, he says very sharply.
Did you just call him dead? What?
rude.
I kind of thought everybody is everyone not dead here? Is that not what's going on? Are you sure?
This is not a plane of death, Nyla Lighthands. So as your attention returns to Shiraka, he splays his hand over the Deathlock's now detached head, and slowly a greenish light filters up through its open through its open mouth and eyes, and it forms a small orb near the palm of his hand. Quickly, Shiraka reaches into his robe and produces a small white crystal, and he says, "I cannot thank you enough for your help here today." And he slowly lets the green light form that it coalesced in his palm, and it feeds into the crystal, which immediately starts to glow an eerie bright green. And he holds it up to the light and he says, "You've got us, among other things, our ticket out of here.
Yeah, fine. Keep him in the vial, sure.
This is indeed the soul that my lady requested. I'm sure of it."
Well, that's good.
Excellent. So when can we have our audience so we can get what we wanted?
He stands up and he brushes off his coat. He says, "For that, we'll have to go to the Hall of Memory. It's not something I would suggest doing and he eyes the three of you, this state. He says, "Take some rest here. We'll leave soon." Which is his way of saying that you are going to stay at the Darkfire Citadel for a long rest.
Oh,
Sorry,
thank God.
Did that man just suggest me that we were going to go somewhere else dangerous? I thought we already covered the dangerous situation, and now we were going to go home. Well, we were going to get the thing we wanted, then we go home.
My lady may know where this pillar of yours is, but I guarantee she might have it, but I sort of doubt it. My lady, she does not enjoy collecting artifacts of a magical nature, let's put it that way.
Well, that's very vague, so thank you.
She's a collector in her own right, but she has very specific tastes. So yeah, I spoke with Val ahead of time. You have 8 hours in Darkfire Citadel with what is left of its knowledge. And I asked her if she wanted to copy a new spell into her spellbook, or if she wanted to do research on a specific thing, and she said she wanted to do research on the Raven Queen. So that is what I'm going to do. Is there anything else specific that y'all want to do while you're here, while you're in Darkfire Citadel? Besides long rest.
Nyla's gonna comb the place and see what she can confiscate.
So it is almost exclusively books here.
God damn it.
So if you're
Books. Take books.
if you're into books,
Books.
you can't do much better than Darkfire Citadel.
Nyla is aggressively not into books.
Right? I'm not surprised.
In that way, she's actually very different from me, but...
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of, like, explicitly material value. It is almost exclusively books.
Is the ghouls, do they have anything on them, or do they just, like, dissipate?
Well, there were 2 whites. When you killed them, their physical form disappeared. The Deathlock, it has its spellcasting focus, which is a human skull.
Excellent.
Shiny. Oh, you want
Excellent.
that? Okay.
I absolutely want that.
Of course.
Okay, it doesn't have any particular value to you. It is just a human skull.
That's fine.
Okay, alright, y'all, alright.
You just want a human skull.
I just like things in my inventory.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? I'm gonna get to Selwyn and what she learns probably last. Is there anything?
Oh, we need to have a chit-chat.
Who?
I've written up the script. You ready? You ready?
Oh god, there's a script.
There's a script. Okay.
So I'm assuming that like Selwyn is like very intensely like flipping through books and stuff like that, and Ariazis is going to try to like get her attention. Like, we need to talk in Elvish, of course,
What?
about the storm. We need to talk.
I kind of get a little pale, but, don't argue that point.
And she's going to like open her mouth and be like, just like she doesn't know quite how to start, and then just, it's just, this plane is messing with my head. Everything here feels so wrong. In the material plane, I can feel the connection of life and death. I can't feel that here. All I can feel is the absence of life. I feel like half of me is missing. Even storms are worse here. I know.
I mean, the storms are literally not our normal storms.
I know you saw something too, and we need to talk about that.
Selwyn fidgets with her sleeves, not really wanting to bring it up.
I know it's not easy. I also didn't see anything happy.
Is it worth dwelling on? I mean, this
Perhaps.
plane sucks all happiness. Shouldn't we try to move past it?
She like inhales really deeply. If it's possible to move past it, mine is something that's already deeply ingrained in me. I don't know if I can.
Selwyn reaches over and just places a hand over yours and just gives a little squeeze. I don't know what you saw, and I mean, if you really want to talk about it, I guess we can. It wasn't anything particularly pleasant for me either.
She's gonna try to find somewhere to sit down, even if it's on like
Yeah.
a stack of books or on the floor or whatever.
There are a couple chairs. They're
Right.
gross and old, but there's definitely places to sit.
Right.
We find
She's
one
just
that
gonna,
looks like it doesn't fall apart.
In the rain, I saw the children of my village. I remembered them calling me an it, and saying how terrible it was that Qatar brought me back to the village.
It's horrible.
It is horrible, I know. But did I ever tell you why my horns are covered in moss? It's not just the aesthetic, you know.
I mean, it's a good aesthetic.
It is for a druid.
But no. No, you haven't.
Those children, all wood elves, like Qatar, like my father, they would always point out how I looked different. I hated my horns for so long. I tried to hide them with cloaks, with my hair. They're too tall, it was never enough. At least with moss, it distracts people.
You shouldn't have to hide who you are. I think.
And Selwyn hesitates, just kind of screws up her courage and says,
I think you're beautiful.
You're definitely the first person, and the only person, other than father, who doesn't count, who has said that.
It's true.
Well, thank you, but I also feel bad for you shouldn't have followed me out there.
I couldn't just let you go out there. That's crazy.
I wasn't thinking
Always.
either. When Stormy just ran, I just followed him, but you shouldn't have followed me.
Ariasis, I love you. Love you. I'd follow you anywhere.
She just kind of like looks at you like she's short-circuited, like, okay, moving on. I know that our quest is dangerous, but this isn't the first time you've suffered because of me. I can't keep having that happen.
You can't stop it either. I'm my own person, and I'm going to make stupid decisions, and you're going to make stupid
Clearly.
decisions. But we're a team, and I'm always going to be there for you.
And speaking of being a team, both of us saw something, but Sal didn't. That is also worrying.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really, really weird.
I know he doesn't want to talk about it, but that's something that we need to think about.
I mean, I don't know what it could mean. I don't know if it's because of the memory modification or what it is, but yeah, we will need to eventually gently push him on it.
As you are talking about Sal, you sort of unconsciously look over at him, and for the first time, you see that he's getting a little flirty, just a little bit flirty with Shiraka, just a little bit. Like, it's subtle, but
Right.
definitely.
Oh my god, is he flirting with Shiraka? What? His taste in men is terrible.
It's true. He's going like 0 for 4 at this point in the campaign. Every single one of them is unavailable or spooky.
Hey, maybe that's just his thing.
It is at this point that Sassy finally wanders in. He says, "So you killed my future fiancé, huh?" And he looks down like vengefully at the Deathlocks, like, you could have at least introduced us first.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could have introduced yourself too.
We were a bit busy.
Well, I'd never be married.
You're also dead.
I thought you already were
Don't
married.
be-
Didn't you tell me about like your husband?
Sassy points at Ariazis, "You're being racist," and she points at you, Zohain, "and you're being a liar." "I am Queen Olessa, the Red Lady of Tiragard Sound, and my dignity will not be impugned."
My.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. And I thought that the Raven Queen was the only lady we were going to meet. I am so honored to be in your presence.
So at this point, Shiraka heads off to explore a little bit deeper into the keep. And Sal's kind of like, huh, as he leaves, like, alright, that happened. Selwyn,
Yep.
you wanted to look into the Raven Queen.
Yes.
And indeed, eventually you find a dusty old tome titled Coralon, Lolth, and the Raven Queen, which is a sort of, it's a dense sort of voluminous tome that really gets into the history of the 3 primary elvish gods. It has one huge section dedicated specifically to the Raven Queen, but you find one little passage that is particularly elucidating. The enigma that we now call the Raven Queen was no accident, and the reason so few know so little of her was a choice made by powerful forces many thousands of years ago. Legend tells that once she was a powerful and beloved queen of an elvish kingdom who sought to restore Arvindor by using soul magic to elevate herself to godhood. She came close enough to be perceived as a threat by other elvish gods. Seen as treasonous by Coralon, Lorethian, and Lolth alike, she was unmade and erased from history like dirt from a rag, cast deep into the Shadowfell. But those who loved her still, and helped her to keep some physical form through centuries of dark magic in the collection of souls. In her fortress within the Shadowfell, she draws power from emotion, from memory, and from darkness that saturates her plane. Those that seek her out seek power desperately enough to die trying to achieve it, or salvation from pain that only she can provide.
Do I know? Is she like true neutral? Neutral.
She would be considered true
Something?
neutral, yes.
Okay.
So she's not a god, but she's got godlike powers.
You could
Or she
comfortably call her a demigod.
Okay.
Strong enough to
say that about anyone.
You're right. I'm not comfortable.
She is definitely strong enough to, example, be a patron for warlocks. But she is not, like, she's not, like, Lathander, for example, is one of the masters of the Mount Celestia. There's, like, I think 4 masters of Mount Celestia. He literally rules over that plane. The Raven Queen technically does not rule over the Shadowfell because she was not designed to rule over the Shadowfell. She kind of, like, fell into the role as Queen of the Shadowfell because she was cast down here.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm not #scared. Why would you think that?
Okay, you will benefit from a long rest if you haven't adjusted your character sheets yet. So Sal makes your flavorless but nourishing meal. Stormy climbs up onto the roof. Sassy is like a non-stop bitch fest. Just
What are you bitching about now?
He wanted his fiance, his deathlock fiance, and you took him from her. Very upsetting.
We'll find you. We're just in like a land of a bunch of dead people. You'll find
Right,
another
exactly. The Raven Queen wanted that specific one. You can find another one.
Yeah, because that's how love works. Rolls eyes.
one. And where did love? They didn't even meet. What? It would have tried to kill Sassy. What is going on?
I could have tamed his heart.
You
Sounds like he doesn't have a heart,
Bullshit.
Sassy.
You don't look. We'll get you a nice dress at your next
Racist.
at the next city we find, and you can charm some other dead thing.
Sassy huffs and flips their non-existent hair and storms off, swirling their cape dramatically. So you all sleep, or, well, 2 of you trance, but most of you sleep. You have a filling, if not good, meal. And when dawn, I say with air quotes around it, finally comes, it is to the sound of Shiraka muttering an incantation. On the floor, using this glowing green crystal, he has drawn a sigil that's not unlike a rune of teleportation you recognize, Selwyn. Slightly altered, however. And as you all wake up and, are filling up your bags, putting your bedrolls away and everything, he says, "Are you ready to go?"
Yeah.
He says, "Now that we have this," and he lifts the gem, glowing green with the soul taken from the Deathlock, he says, "we will have easy and immediate access to the..." He kind of sighs. There's conflict on his face. You can tell, he's excited because he's finally fulfilled his mission to the Raven Queen and he's going to return the soul to her. But also, wherever it is he's taking you, he's not super stoked to be there. And he says, "To the Raven Queen's abode. I hope you're ready."
I think we most certainly are not. Could you perhaps warn us a little about what we're stepping into?
"She resides in a castle of ice and memory. It is beautiful and terrifying and extraordinarily dangerous. Be careful what you say there. Be careful where you look. There is nothing in that castle that is your friend."
Good to know.
You're gonna be there. You're gonna guide us, right? To where...
"I will seek audience with her. I cannot guarantee that she will manifest, but I will beg audience for you on her behalf."
Okay. This is turning out to be a deal that I don't think I would have taken if I'd known. Okay.
Did we have any other option?
Nope, let's go.
Shirako gestures for all of you to come into the circle with him, including Stormy, who barely fits. He takes up 9/10 of the circle.
Oh gosh.
Just squished up against a bad-smelling rock creature.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happens. He mutters an incantation, the runes around all your feet start to glow dazzling green, and then with a slight pop, you are standing outside, and the wind is fucking howling past you, and suddenly it has dropped 30 degrees. You are standing outside a massive ice palace. What little light exists within the Shadowfell is caught on the walls of this beautiful, ominous castle, not in resplendence, but in grave warning. Perhaps it's your imagination, but you could swear that you could hear the sounds of 1,000 hushed whispers all around you, emanating from all the walls and windows. You are about 50 feet from the front door, and as I said, the wind is howling past you. It seems like you're in the middle of a blizzard, but you look up and you realize that there's a storm of memory, leaking out from the tallest spire of this castle, but luckily it is heading away from you. It is heading in a different direction.
Good.
Oh god.
Or looks up and is like, ah!
So, is it generated from here? The storm?
He nods gravely. He says, "Yes. It is called the Fortress of Memories, and it is the most dangerous place you have yet been." He says, "I will go inside." He says this extraordinarily reluctantly, he looks like he'd rather pull his own teeth out than go in. And he says, "You can wait outside, although this storm, it's up to you. If you do wait inside in the foyer, I wouldn't recommend going too far in or touching anything. I leave it to your discretion."
Oh, we should definitely go inside. I think Nyla's very small, so she's having a hard time staying upright in the wind.
Sal's has 2 hands on your shoulders, "Don't fly the halfling away. Keep the halfling grounded."
Stormy, block the wind with your giant body.
So Nyla's "Please, can we go inside? Please? Can we please go inside?"
He says, all right, but as I said, be careful what you look at, be careful what you interact with. There's no doors to this place. There's nothing you can push open. And you suspect it's because you'd have to be a little bit insane to even want to go inside. So what's the point of, like, locking anybody out? But the wind stops, which is nice. It's still pretty cold, but now there's no wind chill, so you've got that going for you, which is nice. The main foyer of this fortress, the walls are very, very glossy. They're extraordinarily reflective, and they're polished to almost a mirror shine. And you realize they're not glass, although they do look a lot like glass. They're actually ice. Even the internal walls are all ice, and they are so glossy that you can see yourselves in them. There are a strange assortment of objects in this room. There's a large divan. There's a chest of drawers, sort of stuffed into the corner with the doors facing the wall. There are a number of trinkets. There's a chest of toys. And Shiraka, he is rubbing his hands together, and he says, wait here. And then he turns, and he heads out to the only exit that is afforded in this room.
I look pointedly at Nyla, and I put my
Nyla's-
hands laced together.
Exactly.
Fingers laced together.
Nyla's like she's like sitting there, like clutching her like arms tightly, being like, "Don't touch anything, don't touch anything." But she's like, she keeps like eyeing stuff, like especially like the trinkets. Like she wants to go over and look at them so badly.
There's nothing stopping you from looking at them, except for your friends glaring at you.
Right.
He
Nyla's
said
like,
to be careful.
I will be careful. I'm just gonna look. That's all. She sidles over to the trinkets.
Nyla version of looking, though. I don't like it.
Of the things I mentioned, which one do you want to go to? There, like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's not just a box labeled trinkets, like every single thing is.
Dang it. You said toys? Is that what?
There's a box of toys, yes.
Yeah, that.
Okay, so this box of toys, it is quite old. The wood is worn and weathered. It has a lid that is not locked, but it is closed.
If you touch anything, I'm going to thorn whip you and bring you back here.
Now someone's mage hand.
God damn it, Nyla.
That also counts.
She like holds
Don't
it up.
you
She's like,
dare.
I wouldn't be touching it. I'm just saying, I myself, me, wouldn't be touching. He just meant to. We shouldn't touch it. But if like magic touches it, that's
No,
probably
I
fine.
cast
the
dispel
same.
magic
Good.
to dispel your mage hand.
I mean, it's a cantrip, so I just summon it again. Are we
Nyla.
gonna sit here and waste spell slots all day?
Nyla.
I mean, don't fight too hard. If she wants to do it, there are contingencies. I know what happens.
Of course you do.
I guess the question is, would you actually try to stop me? Because I feel like y'all would try to stop me. From
Yes.
doing this
Yes, of course we would. So I
Right,
probably,
well, you better-
seeing that you just kind of go along with it, I go over to you. Are you really gonna do this stupid thing?
I'm not. I'm most certainly not. But Nyla looks at it longingly, and she like steps back to the center of the room, and she's like, "Okay, if you could just maybe." She goes and stands behind Stormy so she can't see anything.
Stormy is sniffing a couch. He actually, you can see Stormy like poke the couch and nothing happens to him. His int score is, -4. So,
Yeah, really huge and dumb, yeah.
like, you have to have an int over a certain level for anything to happen to you in here. But Salvador is kind of looking around. He looks kind of terrified. Like, he's not being, he's not throwing caution to the wind like Nyla. He's like equal parts terrified and fascinated by everything in here. He is walking around sort of the outside of the room looking at the walls, and he stops at one of the outer walls and stares into it for a while.
Sal?
Hello?
He doesn't answer. He's looking into the wall.
Probably not a good idea.
He does not say anything.
Someone
Sal?
should get him.
Ariazi's gonna, touch his shoulder very carefully and gently.
You approach him, Ariazis, and you see what he sees. In the reflection of this massive blank, glossy ice wall, you see quite an eerie tableau in front of him. In fact, you see the reflection of Salvador is being grabbed by both arms and dragged backwards through a forest that's on fire. And just as you touch his shoulder, you hear him scream, "Mother!" And then abruptly, Salvador jerks out of it and looks back at you.
Are you okay?
Salvador looks a little spooked, a little pale. He says, yeah, I'm fine. He kind of looks nervously back at the wall, but then, like, turns his back to it, so he doesn't have to do that again.
She, like, is looking very seriously at Sal, like, are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Because I saw the fire in the forest.
Yeah, that was weird.
Fire in a forest?
What?
What?
Salvador kind of shrugs like he doesn't know what to say.
At least in the hive forest, it's forbidden to bring fire, so that terrifies me. Despite being a tiefling, I don't like it.
He says, well, that's fine. I mean, I don't know what it was, so it's fine.
Okay, so nobody look into these strange shiny walls because there'll be scary things in there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure none of you will be curious to look at the walls.
We're just supposed to sit in the middle of the room and just like twiddle our thumbs? How long?
If you want to go into a trance like Sal, please feel free. Tell me what you see.
I mean, he seems fine. Nyla walks over and looks at it.
All right, Nyla. When you approach this wall and you look into it for a couple of seconds, nothing happens, and you think, "Oh, Sal's just being a baby, or he's got some weird memory shit going on, so maybe it's broken for him." But then the vision in front of you changes, and suddenly you see something very familiar. You see the inside of your childhood home. Specifically, you see the office where your father used to, keep all his ledgers and stuff. Your mother walks in and closes the door behind her. And your father looks over. By the way, Salvador and Ariazis can both see this.
Oh, great.
They do not necessarily recognize your parents, but they could probably make an educated guess.
Right, like, halflings, okay.
And your father looks at your mother over his shoulder, and she says, "Oh, I had to pay off the gaffer again." And your father says, "Did she?" And she nods her head, like, "Yeah, she stole from him again." And she sits down at one of the chairs near the desk, and your father sighs and sort of jots down a couple numbers on the ledger that he's been working on. She says, "If she keeps this up, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to maintain." And then she kind of gestures to the house, like to the burrow that they're currently living in. And your father says, "Oh, it's all right. We all make do. We always do." And your mother nods hesitantly, and she says, "Should we tell her that, And your father abruptly puts one hand up, and he says, "I think it's probably for the best if we don't, sweetheart." She says, "If she keeps this up, I don't know that we're going to be able..." And he says, "Listen, I don't want to make this any worse for her. You know how she is with the village already." And that is where the scene ends. It sort of fades out in a sort of ripple.
Ah, fuck. Nyla, like, stumbles backwards, like, her face is, like, white.
And, of course, the first thing Salvador says, "Was that your childhood home? The interior decor was so cute."
That's what you're going to comment on? Please, everybody stop looking into this thing.
Did you see that little table, though? Oh, that was so cute. Was that mahogany?
Please,
The hell? What are you on about?
We saw Nyla's childhood home, Selene.
Pushes Salvador, like, okay, anyway, let's go back.
Nyla's just, like, staring, like, straight forward, and you can see she's, like, doing, like, mental math here.
Your parents look real nice, Nyla.
Are you okay?
Thanks, I guess.
I can see where you got your good looks, and he pinches your cheek.
Ow! She's, like, I think she's just, like, staring, because she's like, I had no idea. Oh, that must have been a while ago. Oh, gods. Oh. She's got her head in her hands and is, like, shaking a little bit.
Salvador, who was apparently so caught up with the cute decor that he did not hear literally anything that was said.
Anything, right?
He just pats your back and says, "It's okay, Nyla."
I don't really know if that's true, Sal, but thanks, I guess.
You're welcome.
Ariasis just puts, like, a hand on Sal's shoulder. It's like, you have such a good heart. It's so annoying.
Thanks.
Nyla looks up and she goes, that was my past.
Oh,
So
golly.
If that was my past, what did Sal see?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I never seen nothing like that before, so I don't know.
Sal, what if that's one of your memories?
I don't have my memories.
I know, the missing ones.
He kind of fidgets and says, "Well, I don't see a whole lot of point in speculating when we don't know for sure."
It could mean something, though.
So far as I'm aware, my mama died when she was in childbirth.
As
Well,
far as you
as
know.
far as you know.
Mm.
And like
With
I said, I
modified
don't see a
memory.
lot of point in speculating. We don't know what we don't know, you know?
Right, in the Castle of Memories, no point in dwelling on memories that literally everybody saw.
The point is that could be a clue. That could be something. I mean, that could be important.
I feel like it would be important if, your lady mother didn't die the way you remember it.
My mama. I don't know, I never met her. Like I said, she died in childbirth, but so far as I'm aware, she wasn't a lady or nothing special.
It sounds like she didn't die in childbirth. Oh, this just keeps getting more and more tangled.
It sounds like she didn't die in childbirth and she also didn't marry his father.
And also, someone set fire to the forest. Who are those fuckers? I'm going to eat them.
I think Nyla's still shaken, but she's gonna like sit down and be like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't look at stuff in this room. That was very upsetting."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were literally told not to.
Yeah,
Everybody just look at Stormy. He's very large
He's now chewing on the end of one of the chair that's in the room.
and loud and stupid. Oh, my boy. My
So
poor stupid
he's
boy.
on the chair.
He's chewing it.
I think Nyla's gonna go over and try to get him to stop doing it.
No! Don't touch the chair!
Do you touch the chair or do you touch Stormy, Nyla?
I touched the chair.
You touch the chair and immediately you are thrown backwards. And suddenly you are sitting in what looks like a palace, maybe? There is a woman in a long red dress with dark skin and hair tied up in a bob. And she is gliding over to the chair and she immediately sits down in it. At the head of this table that is surrounded by a huge council. Like in every single chair on this table is this enormous council. She folds her hands together and says, "Well, let's make this quick." And then immediately you are thrown back out again.
Like, am I actually thrown, like, physically?
It feels like you are physically thrown, but when you come back to, you're only like half a foot away.
Okay. I sit down heavily on the ground.
I swear, I'm going to have to tie her up if she keeps touching things.
What just happened?
What the fuck? What the fuck is it? Why are there so many things in this room? I thought it was just a chair!
Sal's like, "Stormy, put it down. Bad. Bad Stormy."
Yeah, stop chewing on things.
Nyla gets it.
Bad boy.
Nyla gets it very carefully and she's like, "Don't touch the chairs. Okay, y'all? Don't touch the chairs. Sit down. Can't even sit down anywhere. Just gotta fucking stand in the middle of the circle and just can't look at anything. I'm just gonna close my eyes."
The only problem with this strategy, of course, is the time dilation.
Right.
Oh god, that's right, because it feels like fucking forever.
Mm-hmm. So you decide you're just gonna sit in the middle of the room and you're not gonna touch anything and you're not gonna look at anything, and that's fine for the first 5 or 10 minutes. But it keeps dragging on. Sal, for his part, is now looking at the walls like they are the worst thing in the world. Like he's not sure if he wants to look at them or never look at them again.
Selwyn is honestly a little morbidly curious about the walls now.
Of course. Ariasis is like looking at her like,
I know, but I don't know. It.
You want me to watch you getting hurt again?
I huff and just kind of cross my arms, just sulk.
Nyla's looking back and forth between them with like this look on her face.
I don't believe canonically. I don't think anyone heard their conversation.
Right.
No, I know, but I think that she like hears that exchange and is like, something happened.
With a capital H.
So she just like she's not saying anything, but she just keeps like looking at like Ariazis and Sel, just like something's going on here.
Sal is too nervous. He now fears everything in this room.
Good choice. Good plan.
I hate
Nyla,
this
like-
meeting.
Like sighs heavily and is like, "What? Are we just gonna sit here all day? What are we gonna do? This is so long. I feel like we've been in here for like 18 hours."
I know, it's this stupid plane, and it's stupid time. I hate everything in this plane.
The floor is very uncomfortable. Are you sure I can't just sit on the couch?
Probably a bad idea.
You flung yourself like a foot back and like vanished for a second last time you touched furniture? I don't know.
Was,
Probably not a good idea.
that was bad. Also, I saw like a weird council of
You
people.
what?
Hmm?
A weird people council I had this vision.
Ariazis hears counsel and is like, what were they talking about?
I didn't get that far.
Well, good. Probably. That's good.
Is it good? What if we could learn something? I mean, it wasn't pleasant. It was deeply unpleasant, is what I would call it. But
Like everything in this plane, yeah, it checks out.
I'm starting to think now, after 18 hours of boredom, that it might be better than just more of this.
Salvador says, I mean, logically, I know that it's probably only been a couple minutes, but wow, time sure does go slowly here, huh?
Yeah.
Just Ariazis, just touch the chair.
Better idea. I don't touch the chair.
No, just touch the Selwyn. Touch the chair.
Why did
Can
we
I
bring
inspect it or like look at it, see if I can
It is a
glean
chair.
anything? It's
It
just
is-
a chair.
It is mahogany. It has plush red seat and back with 2 arms that are ornately carved. Look, it's a very nice chair. It doesn't really match any of the other stuff in this room, but then again, nothing matches anything in this room.
But Stormy is completely unaffected?
Stormy is basically a giant dog.
Right.
Even if
Could
he
be
saw
dead.
something in like the ice, he wouldn't understand that it was strange or what it was.
Okay.
You're like, oh, that happened. Okay.
I just meant that, he's not being affected by whatever the,
Yeah.
No. That's
Too dumb.
You do know, as a wizard, there are certain spells where it's like, if it makes you see a vision of your worst fear, or if you, like most divination spells, your int score literally has to be at least 3 or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there are just some spells that won't affect you if you're just a big old dog.
fair.
Touch it.
I
don't wanna touch it.
Of things.
I was fine. I was totally fine. I mean, I was a little freaked
There's
out.
also more than just the chair. You can touch anything in here.
All right, I guess at some point I get tired of just sitting. I don't like sitting. I don't like sitting, especially on, hard marble or whatever floors.
Ice. It's ice.
Ice, yeah.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. It's freezing then.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna wander around, like, hands are deliberately not touching anything, but I am just looking at stuff. I've grown too bored of just sitting.
I mean, when you don't touch anything, nothing seems really amiss. Like I said, there's also there's a love seat, a sort of a ratty love seat in there. There's a box of toys. There's an armoire. You didn't notice it at first, but there's a suit of armor, like a decorative suit of armor, kind of stuffed into the corner. But yeah, if you don't touch anything, nothing really happens unless you get close to one of the walls.
Ugh.
So you're just making rounds.
Yeah, probably just making rounds, just walking, and then I do, eventually, like it feels like an age later, I do just hazard a glance at the ice walls.
Well, one glance isn't going to do much. You see a vision of yourself.
Ariazis is like not paying attention to Zoe at all, just like keeping her eyes firmly on Nyla this whole time.
Not the only reason Nyla hasn't gotten up and like touched everything is because she knows Ariazis is looking at her. She keeps like, if there was a way to stealth in this ice room, she would do it, but there's not.
Why is Shiraka taking so long?
I mean, he did say it would take a while.
Also, he's like
petitioning
he's
a god.
At this point, Salvador is like on the floor on his back, staring at the ceiling, like, ah.
very cold. How cold is it?
It's pretty cold. It's probably 20-something degrees.
Great. Nyla's asking, is that fucking in Celsius or what?
No, Fahrenheit.
Okay.
20 degrees, baby. That's hot.
Yeah, that would be extraordinarily hot if it was Celsius.
That's true. That's really cold. So Nyla's shivering like a lot. Like I think she has put all of her clothes on.
Selwyn casts prestidigitation on the floor underneath Nyla, just to keep her a little warmer.
Can prestidigitation do that? I don't think it's...
It says you chill, warm, or flavor up to 1 cubic foot
Okay.
of non-living material for 1 hour.
So yeah,
There
you
you
can
go.
crunch up in a ball. And,
It does. Actually, so you've just done the only thing that's going to keep Nyla from not exploring. Because now she's like,
Keep her warm. She has to stay here.
so much warmer inside of this square. She like looks up and she's like, thank you so much. I was dying.
You aren't dying.
I was definitely dying.
It's cold.
This is 100% dying.
Hi, Mimi.
stupid palace
Just
made of
touch-
stupid ice.
Just touch the chair. I just want you to see what happens.
I'm not sure I want to see what happens.
Nothing happened to me.
Wow.
I'm not particularly curious about this council. I don't really care about government or what people think about anything
Salvador-
like that.
Salvador's now playing tic-tac-toe against Sassy.
Sassy is cheating.
Okay, this is terrible. Come on, this is so bad.
It is really bad. Maybe you should tell us about what you saw there, Nyla, In the shiny walls.
Don't think that's something I want to do. No, thanks very much.
Salvador
Why'd
rolls
you
onto his
ask
stomach.
her?
He's like, Nala, what else are we gonna do while we're waiting?
Seriously.
Touch the chick.
Nope, we are not going to touch the chair. Tell us about your parents? I don't know if they...
I don't know. I did not know those people.
They look like her parents.
Nope.
She had her
I-
mother's eyes.
I've never
see.
met them before in my entire life. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so these random halflings that you've never seen in your life, why were they stressed? Talking? Seemed like they were talking about you.
Great question. It sounds like these random halflings had a bad daughter.
Wow. Did you know any bad halfling daughters in your
Nope.
village? No?
not one.
I see.
Really?
I've
Nala,
never
you're
met-
not a bad daughter.
I didn't say I was.
exactly a good daughter, but
Excuse the fuck out of you.
oh, let's see who's doing everything possible to keep us from meeting her family, or
Yeah, we don't
else
really have a
anything
lot to go on here.
about-
Why would I
And,
introduce a necromancer and a weird tiefling with moss on our antlers to my family? No offense.
Nala, be
Tell
nice.
us what you really think about us. Jeez.
Was that not an honest description of your exteriors?
Let's all try to be nice. This place feels like it's influencing us. Let's put it that way.
I like the moss on Ariazi's antlers.
Good. You
I
better.
also like the moss. It's very nice moss.
It's okay, moss. I mean, I wouldn't go so far.
Nala.
I don't know how many feelings I have about moss. I'm just saying we're gonna be honest, right? Honesty is important.
You're so
Don't keep
bored
saying
you're
it.
like rating the moss on Ariazi's horns.
Okay.
On a scale of the softest moss I've ever felt.
Would I sleep on it? No.
It's not like the fun moss, like when you're like walking in the forest and it's like soft and squishy in your feet, and you're like, "Oh, it's not that moss." It's
Did
like
you
the
give
dry
up trying to look into the wall, Selwyn?
Probably not. Yeah, I think probably on one of my other circuits around, while they're arguing about moss and stuff, I take a longer look.
So, when you finally hesitate and look into this one wall, you see also a very familiar tableau. It is also your childhood home. It's not one of the more recognizable rooms, however. It is in your parents' room. Specifically, you see your mother. She is clutching her abdomen and with one hand, and with the other she is covering her eyes, and she is sobbing. She's sort of bent over the end of the bed and just crying. And you can see your father come in from the adjoining room, and he opens his mouth to ask her what's wrong, but then he closes his mouth a moment later, and he sort of cringes and he looks away.
I kind of step back a little shaken.
The vision fades.
So we're seeing bits of our lives that affect us, but aren't necessarily us? She's muttering under her breath as she walks around again. Nyla didn't see herself. Sal did, but Sal doesn't remember anything. I wasn't there.
Did you still see something in the wall? Why are you talking to yourself?
Yeah, she's like making rounds talking to herself.
Did you look at the wall? You told me not to look at the wall. Y'all are just gonna sit here and tell me not to do
I
anything.
got
Turn
so
around.
bored.
It's super boring. What did you see in the wall? Nyla's looking very excited. Normally she doesn't care for people's personal lives, but she's just so fucking bored.
Right.
Yeah, Salvador is also starting to really get bored. He's like casting thaumaturgy over and over again. Like he's making the ground tremor underneath them, and then he's like turning the lights up and then turning the lights down.
Selwyn kind of just like draws in a little bit. She doesn't really share a lot. about her family. Not that, not to the levels that Nyla doesn't share, but like, this was a really oddly personal moment that she saw. And I think it's uncharacteristic of her to not, like, talk.
Ariazis is like, she's not saying anything, but she's like looking at Selwyn like, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but there's literally nothing else to do. I'm curious, but I don't want you to feel uncomfortable.
She kind of just flops onto a spot on the floor. She heats it up for herself and fidgets. Well, I have a lot of siblings. You know that, Ariazis.
Mm-hmm.
Salvador, desperate for something to listen to, flops onto his stomach and listens.
But that's... Well, I mean, you grew up with elves, that's not common.
Mm.
Is it not common? Why is it not common?
Elves are... There's a limited number of our souls, and...
There's what?
It's complicated, but we're all basically reincarnations of another elf who's passed.
Nyla's staring, and she like looks at Sal. She goes, well, "What about half elves?"
Yeah, what about half elves?
Can I make an Arcana check?
Yeah, go ahead.
What about half elves?
I don't know. I've never met one before you, Sal.
Oh, well, I'm honored to be the first one that you met.
I had no idea elves could marry other people. My father would never allow that.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Hey!
No, half elves are considered a different race. An elf that sires by another race is not reincarnating a different soul. No.
Okay. It's not exactly the same for half elves for whatever reason.
Well,
I don't know, but I think maybe it's part of why Shiraka was staring at me. I mean, he explained a little of this, didn't he?
I wasn't listening.
Oh.
Really? Not listening to Shiraka? Interesting. She gives him like an eyebrow waggle.
He's blushing. He's like, stop.
Yeah. Anyway, like I said, I had a large family, and I saw my mother and father, and I think it was, I guess, when she found out about one of my siblings or something, I don't know. But our tribe didn't really approve of it because, like I said, we're reincarnations. Someone died, but I always thought that, we were bringing life back.
He says, well, I'm sure it sounds like there's a stigma on it, but I'm sure it's not that simple. I mean,
yeah.
He pats your arm.
I just kind of lean into him.
He gives you a big hug because that's all he knows how to do to comfort people.
Hugs are good. I like hugs.
Hugs are good. And Salvador's like, also, I'm going crazy in here.
Oh, you too? Great.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. This place kind of sucks.
It does. I think he's probably never coming back. Shiraka lied to us this whole time, and now we're just stuck here forever.
Shiraka wouldn't do that.
This place also sucks because Ariazis won't let us touch anything.
No, it's because you suck, Nyla.
Ariazis. You need to be nicer to your friends, especially to Nyla.
Thank you, Sal.
She, puts a hand on Nyla's head like, I'm so sorry, and then pets her.
Stop that. Stop.
I am being very nice to you now, though, Nyla.
That is not... No, it is not. Please don't touch me. She, sidles away.
You shouldn't touch people if they don't want to be touched, Ariazis.
That is true.
That's common courtesy.
On this episode of Crit Fail,
Consent, kids.
Hi, my name is Tessa Crawley. We've had a lot of fun here today, but consent is no laughing matter.
As we all laugh our asses off. Okay.
Ask for consent, kids. It's important.
Right.
No, really. Seriously.
Yeah, seriously, do ask for consent. It is actually important, but, this is not the place to learn about consent. Talk to your parents about sex. Don't come to us.
Listen to this. We curse all day. Come on.
Ariazi's like, yes, okay. Next time, if I want to cast, Thorn Whip on you to tie you up, I will definitely ask for your opinion first.
Good? Good.
Because
I
are you
just
going
kind
to
of-
touch anything? Because if you touch something, I'm going to cast, and I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to do it anyway.
I don't think you understand what consent means, Ariazes.
I think you potentially have a I feel like I'm learning a lot about your last relationship. Anyway,
Ouch.
She like looks at Nyla like, "What did you say?"
I'm pretty sure you heard me.
I
So, sounds like,
was
oh
just-
no.
I was assuming, like I that I heard something about like my past relationship, but I don't think that you would bring that up, would you?
Okay,
I
everyone, let's just calm
Definitely
down.
would.
Let's just
I was like standing up.
let's turn this down a
Yeah.
little bit.
Guys.
What do you have to say about my past relationship that you know nothing about?
Salvador looks frantically at Selwyn.
So it's kind of like, oh no.
I'm just saying that you're perhaps a somewhat difficult person. That's all I'm saying.
Oh God.
Here,
Difficult.
really? Now, guys, we need to focus on, happier things in this plane, remember?
That's true. We do need to think about happier things like, not being a difficult person. It is, you're right, Nyla, it is very difficult when the person that you thought that you loved actually was just using you as a resource because they didn't really love you. That's really difficult.
Can we not do this right now?
Please?
I'm a little worried that you're gonna hurt each other, and I don't know how I deal with that.
It won't hurt, Nyla, don't worry.
Are you sure? Because you keep threatening to hurt her. Let's all just say we're sorry. Sal like takes this opportunity to put one arm around Ariazes, one arm around Nyla, and be like, say you're sorry. We're all friends here. Right? We are all friends here.
It's true.
Nyla.
Yes, we're all friends. Yes.
And we're all sorry that we said mean things, right? Nyla.
Yes.
Ariazes.
Yes.
Good! And then he pulls you both into a big hug.
Nyla like frees herself from it, and then she goes and she throws herself in a chair because she forgot.
God. God damn it.
Good.
You throw yourself in a chair and you are thrown backwards again, and you are in that same council scene. Now there are a bunch of politicians arguing very heatedly, you think. Roll history to see if you recognize what's happening here.
Oh, that's gonna be bad.
Oh, that'd be fun.
No, 12 is not good enough, I'm afraid. It's just a bunch of politicians talking about something. It seems really important.
Okay.
And then eventually you do kind of snap back out of it.
I like hop out of the chair like it's like hot and it burned me, and I go, God damn it!
Nyla, you really gotta be more careful.
I forgot! I just this place is getting to me. This place is gonna kill me. Somebody else go sit. I just want somebody else to see. It's some weird political scene. There's council. There's a bunch of people. It's just we're so bored. Are you sure you just don't want to see it?
Sal looks at Selwyn like the first person he'd think of that would want to see something history. It's probably Selwyn.
I mean, Selwyn doesn't want to admit that she really is curious now.
I've done it twice and I'm fine. I'm totally fine. See?
Selwyn gives a really big sigh.
You look like you want to. Just do it. Nyla's got her arm around her shoulder.
I kind of glance at the other two.
You can't reach Selwyn's shoulder.
Yes, her arm around her waist.
I'm sitting. I'm still sitting. She can reach my shoulder.
Okay, that's
her
fair.
arm around her thighs.
Arm sliding down one calf.
Yep.
This is now an OT3.
I kind of glance at Sal and kind of like a, should I?
Sal doesn't fucking know. Sal shrugs.
I don't know. Nyla didn't seem to have anything happen to her, but
Yeah, see, I'm fine. Come on. We gotta figure out what's going on in here.
It's a real bad idea. Really, really bad idea.
What's that? Just sit.
Damn it, why did you have to make me curious? Has muttered in Elvish to, I don't know, a god or something, just like, why was I cursed like this?
Gods that you probably worship, maybe Mistra or Coralon. Either one of those.
Yeah, probably. I never actually decided.
Ariazes hears that and is just like rolls her eyes. Yeah, like it's Nyla's fault.
I'm still talking
made you
about
sit on the
Nyla. Yeah, I guess I do get up. Alright. And I just very hesitantly go and I touch the back of the chair.
You feel as if you are thrown backwards, Selwyn. And you see the same tableau that I've already described like 2 times now.
Yeah.
You see a large council chamber with a woman sitting in the chair that you have your hand on, and roll history.
Cool.
Woof, a 22. Yeah, with a 22, you know immediately and exactly where you are, and for a moment you can actually believe it. If you couldn't turn around and look out a nearby window, you wouldn't believe it. But you are in Waterdeep, and this is the Council of the Lords of Waterdeep. The Lords of Waterdeep are some of the most powerful people in Faerun. In fact, they are so powerful that they deliberately mask their own identities, and knowing the name of one of the Lords of Waterdeep is considered that is huge political currency. They are extraordinarily secretive, and you realize the thing that they are arguing about right now is war strategy, because Waterdeep is under attack, and you realize this was the War Council before Trolltide, which is a holiday that is now celebrated, but hundreds of years ago, Trolltide was this, the trolls came down from a nearby mountain and almost destroyed Waterdeep. They celebrate it now, but at the time it was definitely not a laughing matter, and a lot of people died.
Oof.
Yeah, this is a lot. Seeing this war council is sort of incredible. And you're going to stay there and listen to it as long as you have your hand on the back of the chair.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to role play out the whole thing because I'm not intimately familiar with the history of Waterdeep.
No, that's fine.
My notes aren't that thorough.
I do glance around to see if anybody seems to see me.
No one is even acknowledging you.
Okay. I release it and take a step back.
All right, you take a step back, and you are back in the hall of the Fortress of Memories. You okay, Selwyn?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Did you see the cool council with all the people?
It was the Council of Waterdeep, Nyla.
The what?
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Neat. Sounds like thinking I want to touch it now.
Everybody touch for a history lesson.
It's better than sitting around here being bored all day.
Sounds like, is there something like that attached to every single one of the things on here? He starts looking around.
Probably. Oh, Nyla's heads over to another chair.
Oh God,
I
no.
would not. No.
That was the only chair.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a big love seat. There's there's an armoire. There's a toy chest. A whole bunch of little knickknacks, but those are the big things.
Feels rude to jump into memories like this.
But they're the ones attached to chairs. It's not like I'm breaking into anyone's house.
How would you feel if somebody rooted around in your memory, Nyla?
Interesting thought, isn't it?
I'm not super worried. Look, I'm not a famous person who got stuck in a chair, so it's fine.
I mean, we're literally on a quest to try to save everything.
Yes, so I feel like I should get to eavesdrop on some chairs as a reward for my good work.
Really?
I don't think it's the actual chairs, Nyla. It's not. That's not how that works.
Well,
I
you
mean,
can roll insight, Ariazis, to see if you can figure out how it works.
Maybe we'll see. Depending on my insight.
So, do you want to touch anything, Nyla?
Now I was gonna go back to the toy chest, or the toy chest.
Okay. Do you want to touch it?
She's gonna use Mage Hand to flip the lid.
You flip the lid. There are a bunch of toys inside. They're very dusty. It looks like no one's played with them in quite a long time.
What do they look like?
They look like toys. Like there's some stacking blocks. There's a little wooden horse and some soldiers. At a guess, these toys are for kids, maybe 2 to 5.
Nyla looks at you all. She's like, "Look, nothing bad's happened so far. Come on, let me just try it."
No,
Because that's literally how every horror movie starts.
Exactly. I'm gonna roll
Creepy
insight while you're
children's
doing that.
things.
While you're doing that, I'll roll insight and see if I can figure out what the fuck. But nope, nothing.
No, not with an 8, I'm afraid.
With an 8, she's like, I don't fucking know.
So Wayne would also like to try to figure some of this stuff out. Thinking she was already trying to logic some of it earlier with the the mirror walls.
Okay, you can roll insight if you'd like. So your best guess about this, Selwyn, that was a 21 for our listeners at home.
21, yeah.
Your best guess, Selwyn, is that each thing in this room, perhaps maybe in the entire castle, like these things, they weren't put here for good feng shui. You think this might be like a collection specifically curated by the Raven Queen. You think each piece in here was chosen not so much because of how it looks or because of decor, but because each one has a specific memory or maybe emotion attached to it. There's a lot of power in emotion, and you do know from your studies that the Raven Queen collects emotion. So are they dangerous? Not necessarily. The most dangerous thing that could theoretically happen is maybe you see something that's kind of emotionally jarring. But they are just memories.
Nyla's hand is like hovering over the toy box, and she's
I know. I was gonna ask what Nyla was doing when this was happening.
I think she's seeing that you two aren't raising like a visceral objection. She's gonna reach out and touch one of them.
You reach out and touch the toy box, Nyla, and you feel that familiar sensation of being thrown back again. You see a little child run up to the toy box immediately, but he doesn't look happy about it. He climbs into the toy box and he shuts it as he crouches down as low as it'll go, and he peers out through the tiny slit between the toy box lid and the edge. He looks out, and suddenly you realize that you are in a nursery, and it's a pretty nice nursery. The wallpaper is a little weathered and worn, but it's fine. And then you hear something from outside. You hear something crash. The door flies open, and you see a man drunkenly stumble in with a bottle of beer, and he says, "Alana! Where's the boy?" He stumbles through the door. He knocks over a lamp that crashes to the ground. He says, "Where's my son?" He looks around the room and then stumbles back out again. And then you are thrown back out.
Nyla like takes a shaky step back, and she's like, "What the fuck? Did I recognize anything about the boy?"
No.
What did you see this time?
There was a child hiding in that toy box, and his father came in looking to, and he looked like he was gonna hurt him, and then it kicked me back out again.
Ariazis looks at the toy box like she wants to set it on fire.
So every single one of these has some sort of memory in it.
That didn't sound like a good one.
Gonna tell you that.
I like practical knowledge.
I mean, we're literally in a palace of memories. It makes sense.
What's everyone's passive perception?
Right.
I
Okay.
fucking love that.
Sal's is 15.
14.
11.
Nyla?
Oh god, 10.
Sorry, continue with what you were saying.
Hang on. I just took a massive bite of cake.
Perfect time for cake.
A little peek behind the kimono here, listeners. This is the sort of professionality that you could expect here at Crypto Club.
Were we supposed
Don't
to be
make
doing
me
this
choke.
professionally?
I live alone.
You're not that far from Jen and Alan. We'd send him over.
Okay. Let's see. That's literally what I was about to say. I mean, we're in literally a palace of memories.
Sal looks up at the ceiling.
Nyla doesn't notice at all. She's like, well, it sounds like we should use this to our advantage. I mean, maybe these are memories that can help.
Guys?
Maybe
Or
we can find
hurt.
something.
I turn.
Guys?
Yeah, Ariazi's turns is like, what?
Just as you all turn and before you can look up at the ceiling, something comes crashing through, and I want everyone to roll initiative.
God damn it.
Oh, good job,
Oh,
Sal.
shit, guys.
Wow.
Big money.
Good job, me.
A 2 and a 1.
Oof.
Oof.
It's okay. Get him out now.
I know, right?
All right, so first up in the order with the surprise round is the salamander, who drops down onto. Let's see who's the lucky girl. Sal is the lucky girl. He's gonna have to make a dexterity saving throw. 12 is not gonna do it. He's gonna take some bludgeoning damage from 80 pounds of salamander falling on his head. Woof! 25 points of damage for Sal.
Like,
He says, "Ow!" And then the salamander, let me just go ahead and post this picture. There's that good boy.
Oh,
boy.
oh.
Is it an ice salamander?
It is an ice salamander, or a frost salamander, technically.
Ooh.
Nice.
And it, after landing on Sal and knocking Sal flat, it is going to lash out at Selwyn.
Woohoo!
I think all of them but one hit.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a total of 21 claw damage. It rakes its claws across you. for 21 points of damage, and then it whirls around to you, Ariazis, and it is going to bite you.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's a dirty 20.
Oh,
Actually, that's a
fuck
nat
me.
20.
No, it's a nat 20.
You are going to take 18
fuck.
points of bite damage, Ariazis. And now it is Selwane's turn.
Definitely she screams like, ah!
Ow. Ow. Where the fuck did this come from?
Don't know.
You said 18, right?
Yes, 18 points of damage
Okay.
total.
Where is Nyla compared to me?
You're all kind of clustered together. You're well within 10 feet of each other.
Okay. I reach over and I grab her rapier and I cast magic weapon.
Copy paste that jank, as well as read it.
Okay. I was gonna say it's an audio medium.
Yeah, but also good to
yeah.
just have it. Yeah.
You touch a non-magical weapon until the spell ends. The weapon becomes a magic weapon with a +1 bonus to attack rolls and damage rolls. And that's a bonus action. So I can also... Forget, if I use a magic bonus action, do I still get to cast something?
Yes, you do. You still have to use the spell slot for the bonus action, but you do have a regular action left. There's only one bonus action per round, however.
Right.
That's the limitation, yeah.
And then I am going to attempt to blind it.
Okay. What sort of check does it have to make?
Con.
Con. I guess an 18 probably beats it.
Yeah.
That was a good try.
Yep.
Next up in the order is Stormy. Stormy.
Oh, and I'm gonna specify I get out of range if I can.
Right.
Because,
Yeah.
ow, I can't take another hit like that.
Stormy goes into... He sees his mom get bit.
I know, she's like, ah!
He goes, oh! And he is going to charge at the salamander. So he gets 3 attacks.
I already have an ugly boy, I don't need another one. Although the salamander is kind of cute in a weird way if it didn't bite me.
Okay, so one of them misses, but the other one hits for the bite, so it is going to take 17 points of damage, so 168 minus 17.
In the background, Arias is like, good boy, bite it, kill it.
And then he is going to do another bite.
Destroy it.
Or no, he's going to do a claw. 26 is going to hit, and that is going to be another 13 points of damage. All right, so it has done a good hit on the salamander. Next up in the order is Nyla. You have a magical rapier and a whole bunch of other stuff you can do as a rogue.
So, it's within... Stormy's within 5 feet of it, right?
He is all up in the salamander's business.
Yeah. Okay, great.
However, you cannot, for gaming reasons, you cannot consider Stormy an ally. It is allied to Ariazis, not to you.
Fuck me. Okay. Is anybody else within 5 feet then? No?
Oh yeah, Ariazis is still up in its grill as well.
Okay.
I'm like,
perfect.
ow!
Ariazis
So
you can
still-
consider your ally.
Fantastic.
Right, please.
Well, that's still good to know, though. So, okay, so I'm gonna step forward with my... She's, like, looking in awe at her, like, shiny little rapier now. She's like, well, I was gonna use my dagger, but I mean, this is much better. And she pulls it out, and, she's gonna do a sneak attack.
21 is a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Awesome. Oh, it's so good. Look at that damage. I'm sorry, I leveled up, so I have more damage than I usually do, and it's great.
Ooh.
Wow.
Nice.
Very nice.
Dang.
Those were some good rolls, too. Damn.
Alrighty. So Nyla takes a nice big chunk out of that Sally Mandy.
And then she is definitely gonna try to hide.
All right. Behind the chair.
Probably, or like the sofa, I think.
All right. You duck behind the sofa. And that's good. That was a good move. Next up in the order is the salamander. Its threat is now the big one.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to breathe a cone of cold air directly onto Stormy, and Stormy needs to make a Constitution saving throw. And his con mod is +5. 17. That is just enough to beat it. So he takes 22 damage. He takes half damage.
Still a lot, though.
I mean, Stormy has like 100-something hit points.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
he's fine.
Challenge rating 12. He's fine. It's okay.
So that's 189 minus 22. The breath attack, if he's using it on his own. No, he can still make attacks. Okay. I'm just gonna roll 3d20, and I'm just gonna go from there. A nat 20.
Whoa.
Nice!
So
Oh wait, is this salamander? Oh.
this is
Yeah.
a salamander,
Can I
yeah.
just cheer the salamander? I'm
I
the
was like,
person-
no! That is like nice, and Aris is like, no, not nice!
I'm the person who's like cheering whenever someone kicks the like ball into the other end.
Okay, so that is 16. Okay, so that is a total of 16 additional damage
Damn.
on Stormy. Don't worry, he's a big boy. He can handle it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, up to a point. Next up in the order is Sal. Sal, who picks himself up off the ground. Like,
After being slammed down.
ow! He says, okay, sound off. Who's most hurt?
Ow.
I think Selwyn is.
Nyla says nothing because she's hiding.
Okay, he is going to do a couple things. He is going to cast Cure Wounds. How many hit points do you have left, Celine?
I'm at half health. I'm at like 24.
Okay, so he is going to cast...
That's half your health. You big
Yeah, I went up to
baby.
46.
You're such a big baby. Don't whine about
Magic
how
user, shush!
Hey!
I'm at
Hey.
27, I'm fine, it's okay.
He's going to cast Cure Wounds at level 3. Yeah, Cure
Actually,
Wounds...
someone's always bitching about how they're like, oh, I'm so fragile. They have more hit points than I do.
That's you. That's
'cause
on
I
you.
have on.
Yeah, she put some points into con, unlike you.
Well, it was
Right.
a bad decision. Well, I mean, this part was a good. Anyways, I'm not protecting your ass anymore.
Alright, so 3D fuck, what was it? 3D8? I think it's 3D8. Alright, so you get 33 points of life back, Selwyn, and then as a bonus action, he is going to cast Mass Healing Word. And he's actually going to bump it up to level 4. Oh, so everyone, including Salvador and Stormy, get 16 hit points back. That is Salvador's turn. Next up is Ariazi's.
She just like, thanks, Sal.
You're
Good
welcome.
boy, Stormy. Good boy.
Oh.
And she's going to cast Conjure Minor Elementals.
What?
Ooh,
And
what
she's
does that
going
do?
to You summon elementals that appear in an unoccupied space. One of the following: one elemental with a challenge rating of 2 or lower. That's what I'm doing.
All right, what do you want to summon? What kind of elemental?
I'm going to summon an Azure Fire Elemental.
Ooh.
So here's
Gonna
this.
say fight ice with fire.
Right, exactly. Oh, okay. Anyway, where's the boy?
He's like a little fire dwarf.
Right, exactly. So she summons that.
All right, so Ariazi's casts a spell, and a dwarfish creature appears with a beard and hair wreathed in flame and a fiery hammer. And you control it, not me, thank God. I'm gonna have
Right,
to do
exactly.
another thing. So what do you want to do?
Have it smash the salamander.
All right, go ahead and do that attack. Its AC is 17.
Okay, so actions. It has Warhammer. Nice, nice, nice.
12 is not a hit,
Not a hit. All right.
but it probably
That-
has some sort of multi-attack.
It does not. It just has Warhammer. That's all it can do.
Really? It doesn't have a multi-attack? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's cool.
But if it gets close enough, like anything that's within
Anything that touches
uh,
it looks
yeah,
like.
touches it, yeah.
Makes a melee attack within 5 feet if it takes 1d10 fire damage. Okay. So now there's another thing hitting it.
Right?
Selwyn,
on fire.
you are back up to the top of the order.
Okay, can you describe the size of this room?
It's not the biggest room you've ever been in. Stormy can mostly fit into it. Ceilings are about 20 feet high. It's about 50 feet long, maybe 20 feet deep. It feels a lot smaller because of all the crap in it.
Yeah. So not doing that thing, because that'll burn fucking everybody. I'm gonna, I guess, try to blind it again.
Okie dokie. Needs to make a con save, correct?
Yep.
12 probably will not beat it. Alright, you have blinded the salamander. It has a disadvantage on, I think, most things.
On like
Yes.
everything.
Excellent.
Also, it's blind, so now you can sneak attack it all the time, Nyla.
Yep, that's what I'm looking for.
With your
Blinded-
magic weapon.
A blinded creature can't see and automatically fails any ability check that requires sight. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. Okay.
Good job, Sylvain.
Yay!
Thank you.
Stormy says, "Aurora!"
And you're a good boy too.
And it is going to do a hit and he's gonna have advantage. Yeah, all of those hit. Okay, so that is gonna be just a fucking buttfuck of damage. Okay. He does a total of 47 damage to the salamander. Yeah, Stormy is not to be trifled with. Alrighty.
My big baby boy, yes.
Nyla, you're up in the order, my sweet halfling.
Sweet. Okay. Because it's blinded, she's gonna attack with advantage. Oh my motherfucking god.
Oh no.
Amber, you're remembering to put the +1 on your attack rolls too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she just rolled really shitty. She rolled a 2 and a 3.
Yeah, sorry, is they both fucking
Like
suck.
they suck,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
so angry.
Yeah.
Oh, well. The salamander is up next in the order.
Oh, well, she's hiding again.
The salamander, what's his int score? Not great. It's -2, so he does not understand what a healer is and why you should attack the healer. So he is instead going to continue to attack the biggest target in the room at disadvantage. Literally none of those hit Stormy.
Nice.
Literally not a single one. I mean, in fairness, it is blind now, so...
Right.
That was the salamander's extremely useful turn. Next up in the order is Sal. Sal's like, everyone okay? Anyone else need healing? You're all fine?
Oh, we're fine. Just put fire on it or something.
I don't have any fire. Sal is going to cast Guiding Bolt at level 3. Actually, no, he's going to cast Inflict Wounds at level 3, because Inflict Wounds does a little bit more. Yep, that's a hit.
Yay!
So that's roll 4d10. Oof, Sal, my good boy. That is Salvador's turn. Ariazis, you are up next, and then the little fire dwarf after you.
Yeah. She's like, oh, good hit, Sal.
Sal boops it. That's how Inflict Wounds. It's a touch spell, so you have to boop
That's
it.
right, it touched. Like, boop. I don't want to touch it, but good thing you did that. All right. What is she gonna do?
And then he backs up, so in case you want to do anything
Yeah,
particularly.
right. And I guess I will cast Flaming Spear, because why the fuck not? Oh, wait, no. Who's within of it?
Stormy.
Stormy is, yeah. Okay, never mind.
Stormy can probably handle it, though.
Probably handle it, though. She's like, okay, I'm sorry.
What does he have to make? A dex throw?
Dex save.
Dex save. Okay, Stormy.
Save.
Does a 16 beat your DC?
15 is my DC.
So yes, so they're both
Yep.
going to take half damage.
Okay, so let's see. Where did it go? It is a... Nice.
Alright, so they both take 4 damage. It is not nothing. That was Ariazi's turn. It's the Fire Dwarf's turn.
Yeah, it's gonna Warhammer again, because that's what it can do.
With advantage.
Hey!
Oh, nice! Nat 20!
Woo!
Nice.
Alright, so that means you are going to be doing double damage. It is also vulnerable to fire, which I forgot, but I'm going to subtract a number 4 from the salamander to
Yeah.
compensate.
She saw the ice and was like, I have fire!
So yeah, that means you're going to do double damage, but you don't get to do quadruple damage, I'm afraid. There's no such thing as double vulnerability. So.
Okay, so... Okay, I didn't say that he was using...
To be clear, you will... In this case, you will double all damage.
Okay,
Yeah, you don't get to do quadruple fire damage.
so it would be 7. Yeah, so 14.
14 damage. Okay. That was Ariazi's and her Fire Dwarf. So, Lane, we are back up to the top of the order with you, my darling.
Okie dokie.
Salamander's not doing too great.
Okay, I'm gonna use Toll the Dead cantrip.
Ooh, okie dokie. Does he need to make a save, or is that a roll to hit?
It's a wisdom save.
Good news about his wisdom, he does not have a modifier.
Good. I was hoping that you would say does not have...
And a 7 is not going to do that, so
Definitely not.
so that's 2d12, correct? Because he's missing hit points?
Yes.
Alright, go ahead and roll. That is a total of 12 damage. Wow, the salamander is really not looking good. Next up in the order is Stormy, and I think Stormy is almost certainly going to kill this thing, but let's...
Right, it's just gonna smash.
And he no longer has advantage, because the salamander is no longer blind. So he is going to... So 9 plus an 8 is a 17?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all of those hit. So that, yeah, it's dead. Okay, I'm not even going to do the
Like,
math.
anyway.
Stormy rips the salamander apart and starts eating it.
Oh,
Ah.
okay, that's a new thing I didn't know about.
It's like ice cream.
Right. Okay.
So yep, that's what Stormy does. And as everything settles down, you hear a voice from behind you. What the hell are you doing in here?
Turn around. Is it Shiraka?
Yep, it's Shiraka. He's standing in the doorway looking at this tableau in front of him. I left you alone for 5 minutes.
It was
It
5
wasn't
minutes?
really 5 minutes. It felt like 500 years.
He says, yeah, it's time dilation will do that. He says, listen, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that I have heard from the Raven Queen. The bad news is I'm not sure if she's going to manifest for you, but I suppose it's better to try. Why is... Oh, God, can you make it not eat the salamander? It's really gross. Like, Stormy is already, like, chewing its tail.
I mean, it attacked me, so, he's very, very
I think
upset
that's one
right
of the
now.
lady's pets.
Oh dear.
Nyla's trying to look up through the hole in the ceiling to see if she can see anything.
You can see it seems to have made a network through the walls and ceilings of this ice palace.
Oh, it just like fucking crawls around in little tunnels?
Mm-hmm.
Nyla looks horrified. She's like, oh god, there's probably more of these things.
He says, of course there are more. The lady keeps them as pets.
As pets?
Oh.
She's very fond of cold things. Listen, let's not keep her waiting. And he
Yeah,
gestures
probably not.
for all of you to follow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board. Nyla goes with it.
So the halls of the Fortress of Memories are quite labyrinthine, and every clear wall that you pass seems to have similar properties to that of the ones in the foyer. However, those particular walls seem to affect you specifically, but as you pass the other inner walls, there are memories that you can see, but they're not from you. They seem to be from an assortment of different people, from people you've never met, from people it looks like all over Faerun, from all over the multiverse. You see snippets of life that mean almost nothing to you. You see a family dinner where a mother is screaming and crying. You see this resplendent king sitting on a throne. You see some unknowably horrible black mass sitting among a nest of stars with tentacles squirming out down toward a planet below. They are by turns fascinating, terrifying, wonderful, horrible, beautiful, and the ugliest things you have ever seen. As you pass through one particular large hall, Shiraka says, by the way, Miss Selwyn, I have good news for you.
What?
I remember why it is I recognize you now. He gestures to one of the walls in this large hall. You turn to face it, and you see... you. You see a depiction of yourself in clothes that you have never worn before. You are standing next to a very pale woman in a long black dress, and you're smiling.
Who is that?
She says, you're about to find out. He pushes through a pair of enormous transparent glass doors. You come into what looks like a throne room. Setting up on an elevated dais is a throne made out of ice, and all over, covering this chair, is an enormous flock of ravens. There's got to be at least 200 of them. They're all chittering and muttering to themselves. Shiraka immediately ducks his head down low, and he says, be very careful what you say here. And then he slowly backs out of the room and closes the doors behind him.
I'm just gonna leave us? Oh, okay.
All right.
So you are standing before this throne, which is covered in an enormous flock of birds.
I am not standing. I kneel immediately.
Yeah.
Because, goddess, demigoddess.
Sal's like, oh shit, he also kneels.
Right. Ariazi definitely falls to a knee too.
I was like, Nyla stares and she's like, okay, yeah.
For a moment, nothing happens. And then there is the sound of air and magic as this flock of ravens coalesces. Standing before you and coming down the steps of this throne is this paper white woman in a long, ragged black gown with a metal crown on her head and a large black raven perched on one shoulder. She says, you're late.
Well, I apologize, my lady.
You look up at her and she is grinning at you and she says, I like the sight of you when you're my darling.
No.
Ariazi's like immediately snaps up her head and looks up like, what is happening?
She reaches one hand down to you, Selwyn.
I flush. I guess I reach out and take it.
You stand up and she regards you for a moment. Her eyes are searching the details of your face and she says, what's your name this time?
Selwyn Dwyer.
Selwyn. She closes the distance between you and she kisses you, Selwyn.
Ariazes jumps up and is like, "Okie dokie, that was enough."
And it feels good, and it feels familiar. Like, you can't explain it, but this has happened to you before, even though there is no possible way this has happened to you before.
Pretty glances with Sal, like, desperately being
Sal, his mouth is open. He is staring, like, what? The kiss lasts for a while, and then eventually she draws back and brushes 3 fingers affectionately through your hair, and she says, "So what brings you to me this time?"
We are trying to,
You don't have to be so nervous.
sorry. I'm not used to this.
Yes, you're always a little jumpy at first. Don't worry, you'll remember eventually.
I'm not sure I want her to.
We're trying to find some artifacts. There's something going on with the cult of Bashaba, and there's a prophecy about the world pillars.
The world pillars, she says. "Oh, I haven't heard of those in a while." She says, "You're looking for the one in the Shadowfell?"
That's right.
She says, "Oh, well, it's been a while. Last I checked, it was in, She opens one hand, and with the gesture, an enormous tome appears inside of it. The pages flip themselves, and she turns and she heads back up the steps of the throne to sit down. It has been quite a while, but if my memory recalls, the fragment that exists within the Shadowfell should be in the city that you know as Silvery Moon. Well, this Silvery Moon."
Really?
"Yes, in the Shadowfell it's called Dark Moon City." She makes a gesture with her hand and the book disappears. She leans back in her throne and crosses one leg over the other and regards you. "Who are your friends, by the way?"
This is, Nyla Lighthands.
No, didn't have to say a last name.
And, this is Ariazes.
What do you say anything, Ariazes?
Sal.
She's like looking back and forth, like trying to decide if she wants to say something, but then she remembers like Shiraka said be careful and was like
And, this is Salvador Porter.
"Hi." She says, "You always do have the strangest friends."
Nyla looks very offended, but is keeping her mouth shut.
I suppose.
She says, "You still seem a little bit alarmed. Perhaps this incarnation of you doesn't remember as well as the others."
I'm afraid not.
She says, "Maybe this will help." She stands up again. She makes another gesture with her hand, and this robe appears. At first you can't even tell it's a robe. It looks like congealed oil or something hanging out of her hand. The color of it shifts in the light as she comes back down the steps, and she says, "I saved your favorite dress for you." And she hands it to you. So this dress looks like it is the color of an oil slick. Let me post the for our listeners at home, these robes are called robes of the consort. This sleek, elegant black gown shifts in different lights like an oil slick and has 4 charges. The bearer may spend 1 charge as a reaction to impose disadvantage on all attack rolls against them for the next minute. It regains 1d4 charges per each rest.
wow.
Ew.
Cool.
So you don't know that just by looking at it, but you can tell that it is very, very magical. She says, "I think it will look good on this form."
If there's a form of like emotional penis envy, Ariazes is feeling it. Like, she's got more magic, fuck. Hers is bigger than mine.
I do love me a jealousy trope.
Sylvain, like, blushes again, but, does take it.
Do you want to change? My chambers are just through this door.
Sure.
You must forgive me for being eager. It's been almost a century, hasn't it? Coralon always has a tendency to guard you jealously from me. Go ahead. She makes a gesture with her hand, and a door appears in the middle of the air. And she pulls it open for you, and you can see that there's a bedchamber inside.
Okay.
Nyla's staring at Ariazes like, what are you gonna do?
I guess I glance back at the others and give just, like, the tiniest of, like, shrugs.
Sal has not closed his mouth yet.
I just like that. I like that Selwyn is like, yeah, I won't touch the chair, but I will fucking
Go
I'm
into
gonna
the
walk
room.
into this woman's.
In my defense, hot.
Right.
No, that's not defense. This is not defense.
Selwyn's too gay to deal with this.
Right.
Too gay to think clearly right now.
I guess this is coming from Ace Nyla.
Yeah,
Right.
seriously.
That's-
She's just looking at like, okay, Ravens.
Well,
cool.
also there's like, the, don't offend a demigoddess.
Mhm.
Also, what on earth is going on? I need to know more about what's happening with me.
Wait, does that mean you have to sleep with the demigoddess if she asks you to? This is so dramatic. I love every
Have
second of
to? Have to? I don't
Anyways.
know.
we
Nyla's
just talk about consent.
Nyla's just staring at you.
Yeah.
Do you go into the little demi-plane?
Yes.
The door doesn't close behind you. You just go in. You can kind of duck out of view to change if you wish.
Okay.
And as you do, the Raven Queen turns her eyes on Salvador, and then to Nyla, and then to Ariazis. She doesn't say anything.
While I'm in the room,
Yeah.
I'm just examining this dress a little bit closer.
Ariazi's like, so, what? You were
She cants her head to
Together.
one side.
you were together. There was another Corlan. What? How?
There's
did
no were, my darling.
You are still.
Her soul may belong to Coralon, but her heart always will belong to me.
Oh, interesting. Cool. Okay.
She smirks down at you and she says, jealous?
Maybe a little
I don't blame
It's-
you. She's quite a prize.
very new still. Can't really compete with you at all.
She chuckles and she says, I don't imagine you would have to. I imagine it would probably be around this time when Selwyn comes back out. So I left the details of this robe intentionally vague. You can make it look however you want it to look. Apart from the color and the physical properties, it's up to you, like the shape of the dress.
I feel like Ariazi's going to like just at this point, I guess, answer because the Raven Queen. What did she say? Like, you don't have to compete with me. And she's like, what? What does that mean?
She doesn't answer. She just kind of grins at you and then she says, you're cute too.
Okay.
Interesting
Thank you.
blood. Potent.
She kind of bristles at that. Like, it is as I've been told.
The Raven Queen just kind of stares at you just in mild interest.
I'm not going to give it to you though.
I didn't ask for it, my dear.
Good. I'm glad. Never again.
She chuckles. And I feel like at this point, this is when Selwyn would come out. Ah, just as lovely as ever. For our listeners at home, this is a black, sort of like the dress. Canonically, the dress is the color of an oil slick. It has, I imagine it's probably got like a low cut front and then a very low cut back, full exposed back, floor length with slits up the legs.
Nyla
And
looks
yeah,
at her-
it looks really, really good on Selwyn.
Nyla looks at her and she goes, I think you forgot half your dress.
Ariazi's like tries to smack your shoulder, but she doesn't know where you are because she doesn't know like where she is. She's just like smacking in the air, like, and stop.
Salvador's like, oh, so this is what it's like to be attracted to women, huh? It's a little
Looking
jarring.
around at everyone in confusion. Like, why are we so excited about missing fabric? What is going on?
And then Elvis, she's like, holy fuck.
You look great, Selwyn. Wow.
Thanks. I'm like as bright red as you've ever seen me.
I'm just saying, if somebody throws a knife at your back, you got nothing there. It's just, you might want to think about, okay.
I mean, in fairness, the only thing that would have been there if she was wearing something else would be fabric. She is a wizard, Nyla. Like,
I know, I disagree with the whole principle, so that's
you
part of
disagree
it,
with the
but
principle of being a wizard?
I disagree with the principle of not wearing armor, but yeah.
Yeah, Ariazi just has her mouth hanging open, like,
So now would be a good time to ask something if you wanted to ask something. Because right now the Raven Queen is just sort of watching adoringly.
What was my form last time?
Oh, a very dapper young, mostly man. You seem to switch back and forth every time you reincarnate. I think that has something to do with your soul.
I suppose.
It's all the same to me.
How long has it been?
She laughs. I wouldn't want to try to quantify it in years, my darling. You and I, we are older than the foundations of the earth.
I mean, that was my next question, but I meant more since I've been gone.
Oh, since you've been gone, about 2 centuries.
Why do I always like older women? Creatures, things.
Coralon, in his never-ending quest to punish me for my perceived sins, always keeps you from me as long as possible.
Why me? I mean,
She glances at you like she doesn't quite understand the question.
he really thinks keeping me away hurts you?
It does.
I'm just...
You're not just anything.
I still don't understand.
She says, you are my consort. You have been in every incarnation for the past 3 or 4 millennia. I have loved you through every name and every body that you have ever borne, my darling. And she says, I am so glad that you are home. She reaches up and touches your face, and you have a new feat. For the listeners at home, the Raven Queen's favor. Selwyn is the favored consort of the Raven Queen, an auspicious and unnerving distinction with certain benefits. When the need is great, Selwyn may attempt to summon aid from the Raven Queen, regardless of where she is in the multiverse. Roll a d20. On a 1 to 5, the Raven Queen cannot be reached. On a 6 to 10, a flock of ravens manifests within 50 feet of Selwyn, clustering on a foe or foes they can see, obscuring their vision and forcing disadvantage on all attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws. The ravens may also assist in any way of which they are capable. On a 10 to 19, a Shudderkai manifests and assists Selwyn and her companions to the best of their ability, even to their death. On a 20, the Raven Queen herself manifests, divinely intervening on Selwyn's behalf. This ability resets every day at dusk.
Whoa.
Holy
Wow.
fuck.
Val the player is super excited about all of this because
Right.
this goes like way back to like shit that Tessa and I talked about when I was going back and forth on what I even wanted to play.
I'm always listening, bitch.
I know.
I'm always listening! You can't say anything around me!
This checks out.
Right.
Yeah, valid.
So this is also the point where, if you so choose, you can become a warlock. Like, you can multi-class as a warlock, Selwyn. I decided this in advance. You can remove up to 3 wizard levels to gain up to 3 warlock levels, but you can take only 2 or only 1. It's up to your choice. And to have the charisma mod the charisma necessary, you can take away points from any other ability stat.
Whoa. Okay.
That's something you're going to have to do between sessions, obviously.
Yeah.
Sessions
yeah.
later, yeah.
Multi-classing is complicated, like D&D wasn't fucking complicated enough.
Right.
But yeah, you can take away up to and you do have to subtract 3 wizard levels.
Yes. Yes.
Up to. You can do 2. Whatever you want. It's up to you.
Alrighty. Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely multi-classing because I love multi-classing.
So that's what happens mechanically out of character. What happens in character is the Raven Queen closes the distance between you and she says, "Will you give yourself to me again?" And I should mention, like, even though you have no reason to think that this is good and this has happened before, you feel it in your lizard brain. Like, when she touches you, you're like, this has happened before. I know who she is. I know what this is. It is a deep, obvious, instinctual feeling. Denying it would be like trying to deny that there's a sunrise.
I feel like Selwyn is just kind of trembling both from like not an insignificant amount of like awe.
Arousal?
Yeah, it was like,
Aw,
scribbling.
yeah,
It's like,
okay.
ooh, it feels like a male writer entered the chat.
No, but like this is a demigoddess, and like regardless of whether I have been a consort in the past, this is still like very
It's a
imposing,
lot.
but also like it's a lot to
It's a lot.
process.
Yeah.
Ariazi's just like fidgeting in the background, like.
I don't think I could deny you any form.
She laughs and she says, "We are each other's Achilles heel, aren't we?" She kisses you again, and then mechanically you gain the warlocky stuff in the Raven Queen's favor. Let's leave it there for tonight.
That's a good place.
That's a good place to leave it, I think.
So drama, so much drama.
Wow.
So much drama.
The same episode you confess. Wow.
Yep.
Hey friends, it's your favorite DM, Tessa Crowley. Can't wait for the next episode? Good news, you can join our Discord server to download episodes in pre-release, weeks before anyone else, at bit.ly/cfcdiscord. If you want more information on the show, character sheets, and social media links, head to our website, critfail.club or critfailclub.com. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/cfcchannel, and wherever you get your podcasts. Have we ever told people officially? I mean, okay, well let's.
I don't think so.
I'm not on the podcast, so I'm Arrow Ace. Me, Tessa. Hi, I'm Arrow Ace. Aromantic, asexual. Kay's a big old lesbian. In case that wasn't fucking obvious from like
Yeah,
space.
I know, right?
Like you can tell she's
Like,
gay
you
from the surface of the moon.
I know, right? Ariadne's and me. Hashtag same. Big move.
Oh, come on. Well, and while we're on the topic, I, Val, am Grey Row bi. Grey romantic.
By AF.
Yup. Yup.
And unfortunately, Amber is straight.
Straightest.
Sadly.
So straight. The
But
most
So
straight.
sad.
But she gets in on the good graces of literally everyone Amber knows is some shade of queer. So
Oh my god, literally.
literally everyone she knows. Like she's got 2 dads and 2 moms. It's ridiculous.
My entire siblings, they're all, just literally, I'm the only straight person I know, just me.
And that's why she's allowed to make gay jokes. It's fine. She has our approval.